So the Orthodox Church traces its history back to the 1st century in Jerusalem, the very beginning of Christianity, where it becomes a distinct religion between Judaism, because it was a branch of Judaism. It was a fulfillment of Judaism, was the day of Pentecost. Remember, Christ died. 3 days later, he rose from the dead. 40 days later, he ascended into heaven. He left earth, and now he's in heaven. And then 10 days later, he sent his Holy Spirit as tongues of fire on the apostles. That day is called Pentecost. Pentecost 50, coming from 50 days after the resurrection. And so this is the birthday of the church, the beginning of the church. And there's something in a doctrine in the church that we call apostolic succession. So the apostles, when they die, they're succeeded by their disciples. Like a bishop, when he passes away, we ordain another bishop to succeed him. And there's this line of succession. We call it apostolic succession because the apostles were the stones of the building. Christ is the cornerstone, and then the other stones are the apostles. They lay the foundation. And so the church has to be built on this foundation. And apostolic succession says that any priest or bishop now has to trace his priesthood back to the very 1st century. There's a lineage between the original church and, it can't be a group of people, they get together, they read the Bible, and they say, actually, everyone's doing it wrong, it's supposed to be this. And they just start their own thing. There's no succession, there's no lineage, there's no traceability back to the original church. There has to be that unbroken chain. And in the Coptic Orthodox Church, again, the word Coptic just means Egyptian. St. Mark is the founder of the Coptic Orthodox Church, so that's why we always have his icon here to the left of that door right there, St. Mark, and he has a lion next to him. And even the Last Supper, when Christ was with his disciples, it was in the upper room of St. Mark's house. And he was one of the 4 evangelists. We have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So he was one of the 4 evangelists. He was related to St. Peter. And he came to Egypt, to Alexandria. And Alexandria at that time was pagan. They worshipped like the sun and all of these gods. If you go nowadays to Egypt and you see the ancient temples and the pyramids and all these things, they worshipped pagan gods. And so he brought Christianity to Egypt and eventually converted all of Egypt. And he died as a martyr in Alexandria, and they were dragging him with horses, and his body was torn up, and his blood filled the streets of Alexandria. And it's a way that we say he baptized the city with his own blood, and he brought Christianity to Egypt. So in the Coptic Orthodox Church, we say that St. Mark kind of founded it. Christ founded Christianity. The disciples and apostles were all there in Pentecost, and each one of them went to a separate part of the world. St. Mark is the one that came to Egypt.